Picture this, one of the largest prop firms in the entire industry, making hundreds of millions of dollars, rapidly disappears in 2024. But now they're back, flaunting newly released tax documents and also revealing how much the owners truly made. Are they here to stay, or is this just another too good to be true revival story? And most importantly, how do you know what prop firm you can actually trust so that you never get caught in another collapse? Buckle up, because this is a wild ride. For those of you that aren't new to the prop firm industry, the funded trader doesn't need much of an introduction, but yet I'm going to do it anyways. Going back to 2021, 2022, and 2023, the funded trader was one of the largest prop firms in the industry. Whenever you would see comparisons of website traffic and payouts, they were always well within the top 5, often within the top 3. And when my Forex funds shut down in 2023, I believe, late 2023, due to the CFTC investigation, a lot of that competition and those clients and that revenue shifted over to the funded trader. And as we will see later on in the video, their tax returns, this led to a meteoric rise. Now, beyond just the size and scope of the funded trader, they were also one of the loudest in the industry, constantly doing giveaways. They had a very interactive and engaged community in their Discord and just throughout social media. It was essentially impossible for a trader to use a prop firm to follow and engage in the industry without knowing about them. And it's for that reason that their early 2024 shutdown came as a massive shock to the entire industry, both traders at the funded trader and just prop firm traders within the industry. One of the largest firms out of nowhere just collapsed. Now, this happened around March 2024, and since then, we really haven't heard that much from the funded trader. Angelo, the CEO of the funded trader, who we are going to talk about, pretty much went MIA. His social media accounts, his Twitter account, there were no posts for about a full year entirely, and the funded trader just kind of disappeared. There wasn't a lot of clarity regarding what was going to happen. They didn't make a clear statement that they were shutting down. And it seems like now, over a year later, they are now back and they are trying to do a firm relaunch to gain and regain the trust of traders. You can see here in their Discord, they're starting to post more and more announcements. You can see here Angelo on the 4th of March saying, when TFT shut down a year ago, I saw the comments, people saying I deserve to be in jail, calling us criminals. Let me address that. From day one, our mission was to fight for traders' opportunities when we started, yada, 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 yada. And he basically just goes on to say that they made mistakes, but that there was never anything nefarious. He says that if it ever goes down again, I'll go down with it. But they are firm in maintaining the stance that they are coming back, that they are not gone. He says, so let me be clear, I will not be vilified as a criminal. If any regulatory body wants to review the funded trader, I'm not hiding. I never have been. Our team stands by our ethics. We've always fought to pay traders and provide opportunity. So it's clear that they're trying to come back. And if you come down into their general chat, there is lots of activity, lots of traders still asking for payouts, because when they closed in March, or temporarily closed, there were countless traders that were left in the blue, didn't receive refunds, and have yet to receive their payout. So all that to say, the funded trader is trying to come back. But one of the most interesting things, and the reason that I'm making this video, is because in an effort to rebuild that trust, they've released a couple of interesting things. One being their 2021, 2022, and 2023 tax documents, which we're going to look at, followed by the compensation of the owner. So if you have ever wondered how much money does a prop firm actually make, how much do the owners take home, we're going to take a look at that. Okay, so let's take a look here at the tax documents that they released for 3 years in a row. The first year is 2021. Now, these tax documents don't actually give you a ton of insight into how the business was operating beyond just revenue. These tax documents alone don't show the dividends or the compensation broken down per employee, but it still does give us a very good indication of the size of the funded trader. So in 2021, their revenue was just shy of $3.8 million. So very impressive. And the compensation of officers here, $143,000. Now, we don't know who that went to. We don't know if that was just salaries and then there were dividends on top of the $3.8 million. But you can see here some deductions, ordinary business income. So it doesn't give you a lot of finite details. But we see here 2021, they did just shy of $3.8 million. But if we go to 2022, we see this massive jump all the way up to $42 million in sales. You can see here, salaries really didn't grow that much, $237,000. Actually, compensation of officers, I was mistaken. Compensation of officers, $2.1 million. We're going to break it down per owner the best we can based on what the owner has shared with us. So compensation, $2.1 million, and then salary. So these are probably for a support agent and people that aren't actually owners, $237,000. But you can see here, if we scroll down, deductions, $36 million, total deductions, $39 million. So the ordinary business income was only $2.9 million. I don't mean to say only as in it's a small amount, but it's clear based on this document, and again, it doesn't go into the intricacies. It's really hard to guess exactly what was going on in the business, but it's clear that there are a ton of deductions, and by no means on paper were they showing massive profits. That's really the main takeaway of this. One, that they grew insanely rapidly, and secondly, that they weren't showing a ton of profits on the books. Now, that doesn't mean they weren't profitable. It's not uncommon for businesses to do this. You pay less in taxes if you have more deductions, but those are really the two main takeaways. But keep that $42 million revenue mark in mind, because when we jump all the way to 2023, does another massive jump to $134 million. Now, correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong, but I believe when my Forex funds shut down, it was in September of 2023. So that would have given the funded trader 3 to 4 months of gaining market share when my Forex funds closed down. So gross income, gross sales, $135 million, just shy of $135 million. You can see compensation of officers, however, only $427,000. So you might think, if maybe you don't have a ton of business experience, you think $135 million in sales, they must be taking home tens of millions of dollars in their pocket. But that was not the case at all, which really goes to show that their expenses were quite high. Salaries and wages did jump to $719,000. Rents, $38,000, which in 2022 was only $14,000. You can see here taxes and licenses, $387,000. In advertising, they spent $5 million, which is really interesting. They did tons of giveaways, tons of promotions. I'm assuming they were probably spending a lot in advertising, and so you could see that here. Advertising in the sense of, Meta ads, Google ads, that sort of thing, $5 million here. But overall, again, we see the same thing that happened in 2022. Deductions were massive. So $134.9 million in gross sales. Total deductions, though, $135 million, showing ordinary business income as a loss of almost $500,000. So again, it doesn't reveal exactly what was going on. It does show and reveal that on the books, they weren't running a massive gain. In fact, in 2023, they weren't running a gain at all. Very interesting. It shows that they had just a massive rise very, very rapidly. They were a huge business. But many of you that were impacted or just not impacted, I think anyone in this industry, any trader was impacted either directly or indirectly, because when they closed, it just spread fear throughout the entire industry, which we're going to talk about moving forward. How do you know what firm to trust? But in terms of the actual income that the owners made, let's take a look at that, because it was one of the most interesting things that they revealed. And listen, your opinion on the funded trader, I'm not here to share an opinion. I'm here to just share what's been released. I would love to hear your opinion in the comment section. But again, I am not here to share my opinion. I'm just sharing what they have shared. Okay, let's take a look at the owner's compensation. Now, this is what's being revealed. There's no actual documentation behind this, so we're just taking this at face of value. This is Angelo, the CEO, revealing how much the owners made from TFT. According to this, Angelo made $1.9 million. So from 2021 to 2023, $1.9 million. Partner B, we don't know who that is, but partner B, $1.3 million. Partner C, $2.7 million. It would be interesting to know why they earned almost $1 million more than Angelo, the CEO. Could be tons of reasons for that. It's just interesting. Partner D, $1.2 million. Partner E, $19,000. And partner F, $33,000. So there's really a huge discrepancy there. Partner E and partner F are most likely very minority owners in the business. But it's interesting how Angelo, the CEO, the owner that seemed at face value, or at least publicly, to be the most involved, he earned significantly less than partner C. Now, there is a current lawsuit that is going on between the owners. Between different owners. You can look that up if you want. I'm not going to go into details of that. I don't know all the intricacies. I don't want to misspeak, but that is a public court case that you can look up. There has been something going on between the owners. Okay. So this is really interesting, right? They did over $200 million in revenue, and these are massive numbers, but they're not that crazy in comparison to the revenue, which goes to show that margins were very thin. At least that's what I take from this, right? $200 million, but the total compensation of owners is, $5-6 million. Okay, so it's a really small percentage of that overall gross revenue. But again, this is just what is being released. That's taking it at face value. Now, since everything that has happened with TFT, since the relaunch, according to Angelo, he has reinvested of the $1.9 million that he received in compensation. He has reinvested $1.1 million. Partner B has reinvested $1 million, and all the other partners haven't reinvested anything. So I'd have to imagine that pending lawsuit maybe has to do with one of these partners. But again, that's just pure speculation. Don't take anything that I'm saying at face value. So if this is all true, it goes to show that they're very adamant. They have strong conviction in the relaunch. They're reinvesting their own money. He says further on down here, we've also managed to allocate $4 million towards outstanding debts since relaunch, which has helped to clear a large portion of the debts that was created in March 2024. The $4 million was generated as profit since relaunch. And lastly, he ends by saying, I got skin in the game, folks. I'm not afraid to go to $0 and sleep on the floor. I don't give a bleep, TFT or die. Based on the reactions here, we've got a lot of salutes. We've got a couple of laughing faces, some hearts. So I think it's overall still a mixed reaction. I think traders that were directly impacted, they care about their refunds, they care about their payouts, they care about the accounts that they had. So again, I'm just sharing on face value what's being shared, but it's very interesting. The transparency in an attempt to regain trust it's noteworthy, hence why I'm making this video. It's really interesting stuff. But in the context of this, I want to ask a bigger question, perhaps an even more important question of how do you know as a trader what prop firm to trust? Because it wasn't just the funded trader that closed in 2024. Dozens of firms went under. That means there were thousands of traders that not only lost their accounts, they likely didn't receive refunds, and they never received their payouts. So there were countless of traders that were impacted. And you're watching this because you're interested in prop firms and you don't want that to happen to yourself. So I've been running a prop firm for over 1,000 days now, almost 3 years, and we have one of the best track records in the industry for paying our traders. And the reality is, coming from a prop firm owner, it might be a little harsh to say, but if you wanted to avoid all of the scams or just firms that legitimately went out of business in 2024, it really was not that difficult. You did not have to be a genius to avoid 99% of the firms that went out of business. So I have a framework of 4 to 5 points that as a trader, you always want to keep in mind when selecting a prop firm. Remember, as a trader myself, I traded with FTMO for 2 years full time before starting Lark Funding. As a trader, the goal isn't to use just one firm. You really want to select 2 to 3 firms and you want to go all in on them, right? You want to think big, you want to dream big. You don't want to just have a 25K funded account. You want to have as many accounts as possible so you can make as much money as possible. So it really comes down to selecting 2 to 3 firms, going all in on them. So how do you actually pick those 2 to 3 firms? Well, The main criteria that I look at first off is years in business. So if your favorite influencer launches a brand new firm that's unproven, I'm sorry, I don't care how great of an influencer he is, the firm is unproven. So you want to look for a firm that has at least 2 years in business, one at the bare minimum, but ideally 2+ years. That's going to show, especially nowadays with all the firms that closed last year, it's going to show resilience, it's going to show sustainability, it's going to show reliability. So that's really the first thing that you want to look at. Number 2 is you want to look at proof of payouts and a lack of proof of payout denials. Nowadays, when a trader doesn't receive his payout, it tends to get very loud on social media, especially Twitter. But as a prop firm owner myself, I can confidently say that there are always two sides to the coin. There is a lot of cheating that goes on in the prop firm industry from traders. Now, that's usually arbitrage of buying on one prop firm, selling on another prop firm to guarantee a win. And so trading does happen. So when you see a payout denial, you need to take it with a grain of salt. It's very possible, as we saw in 2024, that firms will deny payouts that traders should actually be receiving. But other times, a firm will deny a payout when there was legitimate trading. So as a trader, how do you determine whether to believe and follow a payout denial post or trust the firm? For me, it really goes down to general vibe, right? What are you seeing online? Do you scroll through Trustpilot and all you're seeing are payout denial reviews? Or are there 10 5-star reviews and 1 payout denial? It's hard to explain because it's subjective, but it doesn't take a genius to know, okay, what's going on here? Is everyone complaining about payout denials, or is it once in a blue moon? And ideally, if there's a 1-star Trustpilot review, you'd have the owner actually reply to that review, break it down, explain, well, what actually went on. You want to look for proof of payout and a minimal proof of payout denials. The next 2 points are really obvious and much more objective, and it's probably the easiest way to avoid a scam, and that is challenges that are too easy and challenges that are too cheap. Now, this takes discipline as a trader because obviously we want to take as many challenges as we can for as little money as possible, but there's really an industry average when it comes to how challenging a challenge is and the price. So if you see a 100K challenge going for $100, it's a red flag. If you see a 2-phase challenge with target 1 being 5% and target 2 being 5%, it's a red flag. You have to have discipline and understand, okay, what's the industry average? What's the industry standard? It's okay to have a couple of deviations from that average, but anything way better, anything that creates a ton of noise because traders are going, oh my gosh, this is game changing, that's going to be a red flag. Don't take my word for it. Take the industry's track record. 2024 proved that to us. So have some discipline. Don't fall for the massive discounts, the low prices, and the easy challenges. And lastly, mentioning discounts, that's really another easy one. If you see 50% discounts or beyond, it's usually a red flag. It's usually a sign that a firm is sales are down, things aren't looking so hot. So watch out for those massive discounts. Let me know in the comment section what you think about the funded traders comeback. Will you be trusting them? What do you think about what they released? If you made it this far, I appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one. And until then, stay safe. Peace.